Okay, in the last video that we learn about the parameters, okay, and return statement, how we can return the value, okay, and what are the meaning of the parameter and how we can pass the parameter, what are the actual parameter, what are the former parameters, that we discuss into the last video. Today we will moving one step ahead. What about the rest remaining inside the function, that we will cover today step by step. Okay, so this feature is, it's a very beautiful feature that is applicable inside Python only. None of other languages give you this kind of feature. Okay, you can do it in other languages as well, but here the things are very simple. Okay, now let me tell you what exactly that feature is. Return multiple statements with single one, okay, or single return statement. Let's suppose my function, let's suppose there is my function and I want to return multiple values. Earlier I return only one value. Okay, now my concept is that I want to return the multiple value from a single function. Then how it is possible? Okay, inside Python it's very simple. Okay, inside this Python it's very simple. If I talk about the C and C++, you cannot do it directly. Okay, you have to take the help of the pointer concept. But here the pointers are not pointer doesn't play anything over here inside the Python. So for who are coming from the C++ background, yes, possibility is there that you can return the multiple value from a single, single return statement. Okay, with the single return statement. But the things inside Python are very easy. But if the same thing that you want to implement into C++, then you have to take the advantage of the pointers. So now understand what exactly the meaning of this statement, what I am talking about, return the multiple statement with single return. It's very simple. Okay, so what you have to do? Very simple. The same concept. Let's suppose I am making a program def of calculator. Okay, calculator, and okay, it's taking the parameter a and b. Now what I want to do, I want to perform all the operation on these a and b. What operation? That multiplication. Okay, let operation the subtraction. Okay, modulus, divide. Okay, and this power. I want to perform all the operation on these two values, and I want to return from this calculator. Okay, with a single return statement, that I want to return this multiplication, I want to return the subtraction, the value after subtraction, then I want to return the values after calculating this modulus, then divide and the power. Okay, now understand it, how it is possible inside the Python. Very simple, very easy, nothing to do much efforts for the same. So let's suppose here the div is a divided by b. Okay, and let's suppose subtraction is a minus b, multiplication is a multiplied by b. Okay, and then what you perform on these two, for example power. Okay, PWO, power a, power of b. Okay, you can take other operation as well. Okay, I am taking only these four operation. You can take addition, you can take single divide, double divide, whatever. Okay, so now I want to return all these things, all these variables in one shot. Okay, what is the meaning of in one shot? With the help of only single return statement, that I want to return all value with the help of single return statement. Then how it is possible? It's very simple. You have to simply write this return. Okay, return, for example div, okay, for example sub, okay, comma, multiplication, comma, power. So it will return all these variable in one shot. Okay, when I will call this function and I will pass these two parameters, then it will return me these four variables in one return statement. And this feature is very beautiful feature inside the Python. Okay, sometime yes, we have to perform this kind of activity. For that we use the single return statement and we return all the values. Now when I call this function, I take the value into into x, let's suppose 10, into y, let's suppose 20. Okay, then I call this function calculator, and what I am passing over here, x comma y. Okay, now I am returning the value. let's suppose I am getting the value in the t, okay, in the t. Now what t contain? By default, okay, by default it returning the value in the form of tuple. Okay, now t, this t become tuple. Okay, when I print t, or I print the type of t, because I am getting the value, whatever value thrown by this return statement, I am capturing it, I am gathering it inside t variable. And what t exactly is, the t become your tuple, okay, or tuple, but you can pronounce, so it become the tuple. Okay, so when I print this t, on first value, on t of 0, that's mean the indexing of 0, you will get the division. Okay, you will get the division value, whatever value after dividing these two things. Okay, then you will get the subtraction value, whatever value after subtracting these two things. Then you will get the multiplication value. Okay, then you get the power values. So you will get this tuple. Okay, now you know the tuple concept. Okay, you know tuple concept very, in depth. We learned tuple concept in depth in our previous videos. So what we can do, we can use the concept the tuple unpacking if you want to unpack it. Okay, if you want to unpack it, there is two ways. What is, you can use for loop for I in t. Okay, you can print division is, let's suppose the division is your I. Okay, in the second iteration, okay, this is not appropriate way. What you can do, this would not give you the exact result what you are looking for. Okay, for the same, what you can do, in range is again not work over here. Okay, so what you can do over here, for I in t. Okay, if you simply print I, so what output you will get? You will get the first division value. Okay, again you will get the subtraction value, again you will get the multiplication value, again you will get the power value. Okay, this is the one way. So but I want the division as well. Okay, I want the subtraction as well, I want the the power as well. For the same, what you have to do, for I first it will contain div. Okay, so for the same, okay, let me, okay, I think this concept is clear how you can return the multiple values. I will show you this concept practically first, then we will make the practical.
I want to ask you one thing, right? If you want to, the way you said return, right? Div, sub, multi.
Yes.
If you only want two things out of like 4, is it possible?
Sorry, I didn't get two things.
If you want only two things out of 4, like if you, let's say,
Yes,
you want only sub or multiplication.
yes, you can just,
How can
you can use this. You can use this.
do that?
Yeah, you can use this. Remove all this. Okay, I will make a program that would be more fruitful. I will then take your queries and I will try to convert it. So this one is not. So this one. Okay. So let me make the same function. Def of calculator. Okay, and it's taking two parameter, the a and b. Okay, and let's suppose add a plus b. Okay, then you can use mul. Okay, that's mean a multiplied by b. You can use division, that is a divided by b. You can take power. Okay, I am taking only 4 operation. Power is equal to a asterisk sign of b. Okay, so after that I am returning return add mul div and pow. Okay, and when I call this function, let's suppose I am taking, okay, I am taking two values, int of input of enter first value, you can take the x value, again the y, for y you are taking the another value, enter y. Okay, for this time I am calling this function t is equal to cal of x comma y. Okay, and when I print the type of this, type of t, you will get the, you know, the tuple. For the same, for I in t, then print of I. Okay, so I am saving it. So save as multipl return dot py. Okay, so
Sir, you are missing Y letter.
okay, I miss y letter. So where? Okay, that's not a issue. Okay, so cls pi space multiple return. Okay, now you can check. Enter x, that is 10, enter y, that is 2. So we are getting the class tuple 12, 25 and 100. Now it is returning the data in the form of the tuple. Okay, so this is the concept, and what you can do, that is tuple unpacking. Okay, for the same I can use add. The first getting I am add, then I am getting mul, then I am getting div. Okay, then I am getting power. Okay, and I am unpacking the tuple. So when I print add is, okay, add is, then what you have to use, add. Okay, then control C, control V, then you can use mul is, then for the same mul. Okay, and something like this. So this is one concept. That concept is called tuple unpacking. I get the data in the form of the tuple, and then I did the unpack the tuple. Okay, unpack mean that I am segregate all the values and assigning that values into the variables. When I print it, now you can check it out, 12 and 5. Now you will check, add is 17 and the multiplication is 60. Okay, so I think Vikas sir, you get your answer. If you want only 2, okay, if you want to return only 2 from here, then again it is possible. Okay, you have to just return the 2 values. Okay, you can do this thing, that return the 2 values. Otherwise you can ask from the user. Okay, what you can do over here, let me make it.
So you were saying is whatever is in that function, right?
Uh-huh.
If you want to return out of that function, just only name that. That's it. That's what it's going to return, right?
Yes. You just call this function and automatically return statement is returning number of results. So this is the.
Let's say if you only put return there, right? So it's going to return all the statements inside.
No. If you return something like this, return that's it.
So what's going to return like? It's going to return everything like this.
It will return none. So by default it means it's returning none. But I want to return with one statement the multiple values. Otherwise you can ask from the user. Okay, what do you want to return? Okay, for example, let's suppose choice. Okay, choice is equal to, I am making very small code. Okay, so I am saving the time. Okay, press 1. Okay, press 1 for returning add and multiply. Okay, let me write the complete one. Press 1 for return 2 values. Okay, and 2 for return all. So you can ask this thing, return all. Okay, for this time what do you have to do? If choice double equals to 1, okay, then return add and mul. Okay, else return your add mul sub. Okay, add mul power and div and div. Okay, so this is the another way. So print t. Now this time I am printing t value. Okay, now you can understand this concept. Okay, add return mul power, invalid syntax. Why it's saying invalid? I did mistake somewhere. return return spelling mistake. Okay, so okay, 10 and 2. Okay, press 1 to return one value. Okay, I'm pressing 1, so I'm getting only the name add is not defined. Again I did some mistake somewhere.
Maybe you put one O and E and then.
No, that's not a issue. What error is saying? The name add is not defined. The print add, where I am adding printing. I'm using print statement. Yes, I'm using this print statement. Okay, so this is another way. One function that run according to your choice. 10, 2. Okay, press 1 to return 2. Okay, you are getting only two results, 12 and 20. Okay, again 12, 33, and this time I am pressing 2, and it is returning me all the values. Okay, this is the power. Okay, this one is the power. So why it's returning over here 0? Because the 0 point something, the result is 0 point something, and I use this double. If I use this single, then it will return the value in the points. So for example, the same values 12 and 33. Now 2. Now you can check. It's returning the value into the float value. So this is the way. Okay, now I think the picture is clear to return the multiple values from a single function. Sometimes yes, it is required in some of the cases where you have to return the multiple values from a single return statement. Again, the choice is this one. If you want to return, you can ask from the user what exactly that you want to return. Okay, choice 1 for returning 2 values only, choice 2 for returning the multiple values. So okay. The next concept is types of arguments. Okay, types of argument. What type of argument that you can supply inside the function? Okay, if I name down, the first is positional. Okay, the second is default. Okay, the third is keyword. Okay, and the fourth one is your variable length arguments. Okay, variable length arguments, and there is one more, I suppose, variable length keyword argument. Variable length keyword arguments. Now, what type of argument that you can pass inside a function? Okay, for example, the argument and parameters are same. Okay, so what type of basically argument that you can pass inside the function? The one is the positional, name set define itself, that's mean the position, it follow the position, whatever position you supply, it will assign on that particular position. Okay, I will explain it in great detail. The second one is default. Default mean the default value. If you won't supply anything, it will take the default values. The next is the keyword arguments. Okay, the keyword arguments that you have to supply the value for the same. We will discuss in great detail. Then variable length argument. Yes, again it would the answer of your previous question, the last video question, Vikas sir, that you ask if you want to add 2 values. Okay, if you want to add 3 values. Okay, if you want to add 4 values, if you want to add 5 values. So this would be the answer of your last question, that what you asked into the last session. That is the variable length arguments. And the next one is variable length keyword arguments. So this is the concept. Okay, this is the concept that types of argument you can pass into a function. Now learn one by one what exactly meaning of this. Don't worry about it. Very simple meaning and very easy to understand. But yes, you must have clarity about what type of argument that you pass. You use this kind of things and number of time into your programs. Okay, this would be the new one for you. These two would be new one for you. Rest of thing that you used n number of time. Okay, so let me use. So first one is the positional argument. Okay, the positional arguments are very simple. For example, def of add, I am taking same example, a b, very simple. Okay, and when I print a inside this function, I am printing a, inside this function I am printing b. Very simple. I am calling this function add and I am passing 10, 20. Now this concept is called positional argument. Now what exactly meaning of the position? This 10 will be assigned to this position. This will be assigned to this position. Okay. Whatever value you assign at 0th index, that would be assigned over here into the 0th index variable. Whatever value you assign on the next index, that would be automatically allocated to the next variable. For example, if the function name is add a, b, c, d, e. Okay, this time what you are doing, add 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. Okay, now what is happening? What is happening? This 10 is assigning to a, this 20 is assigning to b, this 30 is assigning to c, this 40 is assigning to d, this 50 is assigning to e. Automatically. Okay, this concept is called positional argument. Okay, whatever argument that we use into our last concepts, they are called the positional argument technically. Okay, so you can say these are the positional arguments. When I print a inside this, print b inside this, c, d and e, what output I will get? I will get the appropriate output, whatever value that you are assigning on the calling of this function. So this concept is called positional argument. Very simple and very easy concept. Okay. The next one is your keyword arguments. Okay, keyword arguments. Now understand it. Okay, I use def. Okay, I use def of wish. Okay, this is my message name. This is my function name, and I am taking two argument, name. I am taking first argument, that is name, and the second one is message. Okay, now this time I am printing over here hello name and message. Okay, whatever message you will pass, that will be appear after name. So this is my function, very simple function. Now first case, when I do it, I am calling this function wish of, let's suppose Ravi. Okay, I am passing this name Ravi and I am passing the message. Okay, this time I am passing the message good morning. Good morning. Okay, now what will happen? This become the positional argument. This first value is allocated to here. This second value is allocated to the here. Now output would be hello, your name, whatever name you supply, Ravi, and message is good morning. So this become the positional argument. Okay, now I want to convert it into the keyword argument. For converting it into the keyword argument, okay, then what I have to do? Very simple, nothing do special. Here, when I call this function, okay, when I call this function, what you have to do? You have to use this variable name, that is the message is equal to good morning. That's it. Good morning. Okay, so now it become the keyword argument. Now you are passing this value. Okay, you are passing this value. Now what is the benefit of this? Now understand it. Wish of. Now what is exactly happening? This become the positional. This become the positional because this automatically allocated over here. This become the keyword argument. Now this message is a variable and this value is allocated to this variable. Now this is the one usage. Second usage. What I can do? Calling time message is equal to Ravi. Message is equal to good morning. Good morning. Okay, and name is equal to Ravi. So I can use this as well. So here the order doesn't matter. Keep this point into mind. Here the order doesn't matter. Now this message will be allocated to this message variable. This name will be allocated to this name variable. So this is the benefit of the keyword arguments. Here the the order doesn't matter. Okay, but in the case of previous one, the order is matter because here I am using the combination of these two. The one is the positional and the second one become the keyword argument. But here inside keyword arguments, keep one thing inside mind. So if you try to do this, okay, message is equal to good morning. Okay, the message is equal to good morning, and then you pass this name, for example Ravi. Now you will get the error message. This is the rule. Okay, this is the rule. If you are using the positional argument, then positional argument should be come into the front. Okay, positional argument come inside the front. Otherwise you will get the error message. If the positional argument followed the keyword argument, then you will get the error message. Okay, so keep this point into the mind. Positional argument should be inside the front, okay, in the starting index, and then you are supposed to allocate the keyword argument. Okay, I will show you this practically, then the picture would be more clear. So I am using your file, this one, okay, this one. So making very simple program, cal of print I am a value. Okay, so I am simply printing a value, and then control C and control V, printing I am B value. Okay, so this is the B value. Now understand it. The first time I am calling it, call as a positional argument, doesn't matter. Now you will get output in the case of this. Let me write over here. In the case of this, what output you will get? 10, 20, perfect. Don't worry about it. Now the second case, I am calling the mixture. Okay, I am calling the mixture for the same. Now this time 10 becomes the positional argument. Now I am making it as a keyword argument. Okay, B is equal to this one. The order doesn't matter. Okay, order doesn't matter. Keep this point into mind. Third time, I am calling in both of the cases. Okay, in the both of cases as a keyword argument. Okay, now I am writing B is equal to 10, A is equal to 20. Okay, now understand it. In the both of the cases, the output of the A would be 10 and the output of the B would be 20. In the both of cases. Now observe the output. Now my words will give you the evidence. Okay, so A10, B20 in first call. A10, you can check it out. In first call, A10, B20, perfect. In the second call, A10, B20, A10, B20. In the third call, A10, okay, A20, because I assign the value to A20, and B10. So let me remove this confusion. A10 and B20. Okay, now in the both of the cases, you will get the same output. Okay, now you can check. In the both of the cases, the output is here. You can observe the order. I call the first B and then I assign the value to A. Okay, so this concept is called keyword argument. So okay, now chance for error. By mistake, this you become the keyword argument, and after that you follow the positional argument. Now you will get the error message in this case. Okay, now you will get the error message. Now you can understand this. Positional argument follows keyword argument. Okay, positional argument should follow the keyword arguments. So how I can make it correct? Control X. I am removing from here. I am making this as a your positional argument. This would be keyword argument. Now this situation is satisfied. Position argument followed by the keyword argument. Okay, now keyword argument followed by the positional argument. Now understand it. Now you will get the appropriate output. So this is the funda. So you have to keep this thing into the mind when you are using the combination of the keyword and the positional. Then make sure the positional argument should be into the first location. For example, I am taking one more, increasing it, C, D, E. Okay, for this time I am removing it. Okay, call. Okay, I am just explaining the calling method. Okay, so for example, the first I make those two. Okay, these two become the positional, and then C, D, E. Okay, then C, D, E. I am calling. Okay, E is equal to 30. Okay, and C is equal to 20. Okay, and then D is equal to 3, 4, 5, 6. Now what is happening over here? Understand this. This value will be allocated to these two. This value will be allocated to these two, and this E is allocated to E. This C is allocated to C. This D is allocated to D. So this is the way to mixture of the positional. These two become the positional. This rest of the become the keyword argument. By mistake here, one second. By mistake, if here you do it, this 10 you try to assign over here, then you will get the error message. Hanji, please now ask the question.
That was my question.
Okay. Okay, so this is the way. So keep this point into the mind. We use n number of time this kind of concept. Okay, so okay, the next one is the third one, which was that the positional, keyword and default. Okay, the next one is default. Automatically name specify itself. Default mean okay, the default value. You use this concept n number of time, and I will give you example where we use it. Very simple. For example, I am taking this wish, and here the name variable will take name, and the message, okay, and the message is equal to, let's suppose, good morning. Very simple. Now I am printing over here, print message. Okay, spelling mistake, kindly ignore the spellings. Message, and sorry, let me print the appropriate manner. Hello, comma name. Okay, name, whatever name you are getting from that side, you have to supply name and message. That's it. I am calling this function over here, wish, name, let's suppose Nitin. Okay, I am passing only single value. This time I am passing only single value. I am not passing anything. By default, this message, by default, automatically I speak this word, by default, this is the default, the default variable. Now this default argument, automatically the good morning will be appear on the screen. I didn't supply anything over here. I just supply the name. This name is allocated to over here. This message, automatically you will get this message, that is the good morning. So let me execute it. Okay, now now you can check it out. Hello Nitin, good morning. Okay, good morning. So this is the funda. So I think you guys keep remember this point. Print. Okay, print, when you use this, the asterisk sign, okay, automatically the control will be moved to the next line. But when you use print asterisk sign and is equal to space, at that time what is happening? I am changing this default argument. To this. The same concept over here. If you want to change this default argument, okay, then what you can do? You can supply over here message is equal to good evening. Okay, spelling again mistake, don't worry about it. So now you can check it out, the output. Hello Nitin, good evening. Okay, so this is the one way. Here this concept is called default argument. If I didn't supply it, then it won't get any error. Okay, it won't get any error. It will automatically pick up this value, that is the good morning. But explicitly that you want to change the value, the message variable that I am assigning the value, that is the good evening, then this value is override with the good morning. So same concept, the same concept that we use inside the print statement. In print statement, when we use this concept, then it automatically take the end variable, end parameter to /n. Whether you are specifying or not, it will automatically taking the specific value, that is the default value. But I want to change this end variable value, that is to the space. So for the same, that I have to explicitly pass this. Same thing, if you want to change the default value, then you have to explicitly pass it. So this is the way to handle the default arguments. I think the picture is clear, very simple. You use n number of time this concept. Yes, you can use over here inside the user defined method, because this is the user defined method. User defined means that we define this method. Okay, because this method is not available inside Python, explicitly we define it, but this method is available inside the Python, that is called predefined method. Okay, this is the user defined and this one is called predefined method. Okay, so understand this point. Now the next one is your positional. Okay, we will learn about it. And then the variable length, multivariable length. Okay, variable length argument. Now you will get the answer of your last question, whatever you asked into the last video. Inside Python, okay, let me explain something. Inside Python, the concept of concept of function overloading. Okay, function overloading is not directly available. Now what is this function overloading? For example, the same example, the calculator. Okay, the name of the function is same, the name of the function is same. Okay, but the parameter list are different. What exactly my meaning? When you pick up the calculator, it doesn't matter how many values that you are supplying. For example, you are adding the 2 values, or you can adding the 3 values, or you can adding the 4 values, or you can adding the 5 values, or you can adding the 6 values. It doesn't ask you question that I am made only for 2 values. Okay, I am made only for 2 values. For example, this function is made only for 2 values. Okay, only for 2 values. But what if I want to add multiple values? Okay, I want to add multiple values. Then what I have to do? I have to make one new function. Okay, I have to make one new function. No, that is not a solution. You can make it if you want to make, okay, one function for 2 values, 3 function for again one function for add 1 for 3 values, add 2 for 4 values, okay, add 3 for 5 values. You can make n number of function. So this concept is called function overloading inside C++ or C language. Now what we are doing, the function name is same. Okay, the function name is same. I am removing this. Okay, I am removing this. Now the function name is same, but the parameter list are different. Here this function is taking 2, here this function is taking 3, here this function is taking 4, here this function is taking 5. This is the concept of the function overloading in C and C++. Okay, where now understand it. Sometime the interviewer can ask this question: what is the function concept of the function overloading? The overloading of a function, the name of the function is same, the name of the function is same, but the parameter list are different. It automatically call, okay, automatically call. For example, I call this function 10, 20. Now this time I pass only 2 variables, so this function would be called. In the third case, you pass 3 variables. Now automatically it call this function. In the next case, you pass 4 variables. Now it automatically call the 4th one. Okay, you don't need to tell explicitly, okay, call which one. It automatically understand, okay, pass 2 value, automatically call this. This concept is called function overloading inside C, C++ and Java as well. But inside Python, this concept is not applicable. You are not supposed to perform something like this. If you try to perform something like this, then it will give you the error message. So let me show you and confirm you, because in the previous versions, yes, it is not applicable. I don't know about this new version. Okay, so let me try for the same into the new version. The function name is same, but this time I am passing one more argument. Okay, that is, let's suppose city by gender. Okay, that is gender. By default it's taking the male value. Okay, by default it's taking the male value. So let me try for this whether it's implemented or not. So this time I am calling the function, that is the second one. I don't know inside the newer version it's working or not. Okay, but let try it. You will get the error message, I suppose. Okay, no, this time it's working. No, you can check it out. The output is, I think I didn't save it, but I called 2 times. Let me run this. What output it's giving? No. Hello Nitin, good evening. In the both of the cases it's taking the good evening. So it's not picking the third one. Okay, that's mean it's call only this function. Okay, it's call only this function. Okay, I'm removing it. Def of and making it more simple. A B. Okay, this time print, let's suppose A plus B. Okay, and I am making one, the function name is same, but the argument is different, the parameter is different, A, B, C. Okay, so this time plus C. Okay, this time plus C. So I am calling first time add 10, 20. Okay, second time add 10, 20, 30. Now check the output. What output we get? I think in this case it will give you the error message. Yes, it is giving you the error message. Okay, so this concept is not applicable, but same thing applicable inside C, C++ and Java, and this concept is called function overloading. But my requirement is this one. Yes, my requirement is this one, that I call only single function, and whatever value that I pass into the function, for example, this time I will get the output that is 30. Okay, for this time I will get the output that is the 60. Again, if I call one more time, add 10, 20, 30, 40. For this time I will get the output 100. So my requirement is this one. So how many function I will write for this kind of things? At one time the user want 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 up to 1000. Okay, up to 1000. So user want up to 1000 values. So how many function will be written by a user? So for handling this type of situation, now I think the picture is clear. For handling this type of situation, what I can use? I can use the concept of the variable length argument. Yes, I can use this concept. Now understand how I can use. For example, now I am making a function. That function name is called sum. Okay, function name is called sum. Asterisk sign of a. Okay, asterisk sign of a. So inside a, now what I am doing? The logic is same. The logic is same. Okay, now your picture would be more clear. You can impart this thing into your previous assignment to sum of all the element. Okay, so total is equal to 0 for I in a. Okay, now the logic is same that we already implemented a number of time. Total plus equals to I, and after performing return total. Okay, so here I am in the first call. Okay, in the first call, what I am doing? I am sending only one value. Okay, in the second call I am sending two values. In the third call I am sending three values. The function name is same. You can check it out. The function name is same. Okay, in the fourth call I am sending 4 values. Okay, in the fifth call I am sending 5 values. Okay, for the same. Now if I print it, okay, I am printing. In the first time it will give me the result 10. In the second time it will give me the result 30. In the next time it will give me the result that is 60, and so on. So let me show you. Okay, now you can check the output. The function name is same. The name of the function is same. First time it is working for single value. On the second time it's working for 2 values, 3 values, 4 values and 5 values. So what exactly the role of this kind of things? In our previous problem, okay, the function name is same. The function name is same. Okay, now what is this? The asterisk sign of a. Now what is this? This is your tuple. Now whatever value I am passing over here, this a become the tuple. Okay, in the first case it become like this 10. Okay, in the second case it become 10, 20. In the third case it become 10, 20, 30. In the fourth case it become 10, 20, 30 and 40. So a become tuple, and the same thing that we know this logic very well. We implement the same logic inside your one problem statement, I suppose, in the case of the list. Sum of all the element of a list. Okay, this one. The logic is exactly same. Rather than to taking this, I am taking this tuple because this is by default treated as a tuple. Okay, now this concept is called variable length keyword argument, where you can check it out. The function name is same. Now how it is practically implemented and on what scenarios? Okay, in let's suppose you made a function that is sum. Okay, let's suppose this is the first customer, this is the second customer, this is the third customer, this is the fourth customer, this is the fifth customer. The first customer buy only single product, that is rupees only 10. The second customer buy the product, that is rupees 10 and 20. The third one 10, 20, 30. The fourth one 10, 20, 30 and 40. So on. Now my function is same. My functions are same, but my customers are different. Okay, my customers are different, and they are buying the multiple products. Okay, and they are buying the multiple products. The function name is same. This exactly the function name work for this customer as well, this customer as well, this customer as well, this and up to 1000. Whatever, how many value that you can pass over here, you can pass. There is no limit. But this is the logic that would be implemented into this value, and by default it will be treated as a tuple. Okay, it would be treated as a tuple. So this is the concept. Okay, this concept is called variable length argument. Now the next one is variable length keyword argument. Okay, variable length keyword argument. Okay, let me show you one more thing with this asterisk sign, if it work fine. So one second. So I also immediately,
Thing I want to ask
yeah, sure.
And you took a asterisk sign, right, just to make it look like a tuple,
Uh-huh.
right? If it's possible, like, you can maybe take any other sign for the list.
No. By default, when I use this kind of symbol, then it use ads. Then it will use like this. Otherwise, it's not possible. That's why I'm showing you something. Let me show you something. This one is
And
tuple.
if you don't put asterisk sign, then what's going to happen? I know it's going to take.
It take only one value. It will take only one value. That would be only 10 only. Yes, only implemented with one value. Let me show you something.
Okay.
Okay, this usage. Okay, this one is T. Okay, this one is a tuple. Okay, you can open the shell as well inside this window. Okay, inside this window you can open the shell. Okay, let me show you this how I can open. For outing the shell, you have to press exit. You have to simply write py. Okay, now you can check it out. My version is 3.6.5 and I am opening this shell. You can implement Python over here as well for this kind of task. For example, this is the tuple. Now if I do it, asterisk sign of T. So cannot stand expression over here. I think it would be work into the latest version. So because it's segregate all the elements. It segregate all the elements. It's not working over here. And I think it's work into the 3.8 version or into 3.7. Try for this one. What output you will get? What output you will get? You will get separately 10, 20 and 30. You will get separately the value of 10, 20 and 30. Okay, so I think this is not working over here. So one second, might be this concept is work inside the list. So let me do it if it's work for the list. But I use somewhere. I don't know exactly in which version I used, but I use I suppose. No, here it's not working. Just try for 3.8 version. Might be it will work. Or if the syntax is right, I will check the syntax, but what is happening over here, it will segregate all the elements. So x is equal to, let me try for this. No, so here not working. Okay, you just try into the latest version. So when I use this concept over here, now it become the tuple. Okay, it become the tuple, and you can perform the operation on the tuple. Whatever operation that you want to perform, you can perform it. Okay, so this is the concept of the variable length keyword argument. Okay, variable length keyword arguments. So I think the picture is clear.
So I have a question.
Yeah, please.
Could you please explain why you have total plus equal I?
Total plus equal to I. Okay, so this is the concept that we already studied. The sum of all the elements. Let's suppose sum of all the element of this list that you want 60, and you are taking a variable, the sum initial value 0 for I in L. Okay, in I starting value, that is 10, and what you are doing, sum plus equal to sum. Okay, if I elaborate this thing, so what I can use, sum is equal to sum plus I. Okay, now what is happening over here, the initial value sum is 0 and plus I value is 10. Now this sum become 10. Now in the next iteration, because we are inside loop, I value 20. Now sum value 10 plus I value 20. How many? 30. Okay, sum value become 30. In the next iteration, the I value become 30. Now the sum value is previous value 30 and the I value is, that is 30. 30 plus 30, that would be 60. So after that I am returning this total. So here you have to return this sum. Now I think the picture is clear that we already did into your list section. I give you this assignment, and after that I give you the solution for the same, that you can do this sum of all the element from an array or of an list or of an tuple.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, perfect. Now what I am doing here, I am taking n1. Okay, I am taking variable n1. Now this time I am calling this sum, and I am printing this n1 hello comma n1. Okay, hello comma n1, your bill is, that is total. Okay, so rather than returning the value, I am printing over here. Okay, I am printing over here. Rather than return, I am just printing. Okay, for the first one, I call it sum Ravi. Okay, and the person buy the item of 10, 20, 30. Okay, the second one is Control V, Rani. Okay, she bought one more product of rupees 400. Okay, the next is Rima. Okay, she also bought one more product of rupees. She buys so many products. She loves shopping. Okay, so now this become the positional argument, and this become the another positional argument. Okay, this become the another positional argument. So let me execute this code. Now I think I didn't save it. Control S. Now execute it. Okay, hello Ravi, your bill is 60. Hello Rani, your bill is 460. Hello Rima, your bill is 1017. So this is another case where you can use it. Okay, where you can use this. One more way, let me try, might be it will work fine. Okay, this time Rimi. Okay, and this time I am passing it into like this, like a tuple. Okay, so A is equal to this one. I think it would be work fine. It should work fine. No, take expected keyword argument A, got an unexpected keyword argument A. Okay, so this is not feasible. Okay, this type of scenarios are not feasible, but yes, if you pass like this, I think it will work fine. No, again it's not supported. One second, it is not against unsupported. Okay, so it's not supporting. So what you can do, let me try for one more time. X, now L. So here L is equal to this one. Okay, so let me try for this. Should it work or not? No, it won't support something like this. It won't support. Okay, because 4 plus is equal to int or tuple. No, it won't support. So this is the only way to use this thing. Okay, this is the only way to use this thing. Okay, anything else? What do you want to ask, Vikas sir?
You know the way this print you have printed like before some Ravi and all that, right? All these statements. Which way this loop is working?
Which one? This one?
Yeah, you know that you put like print hello and all that before that, right? And then rest of the arguments or whatever you can say, like statements are on the bottom. So which way it's working now? Like, you know, because these 3 lines are just coming straight away.
Okay, so first time here the n1 is, you know, the n1 is Ravi. Okay, and this A is tuple 10, 20, 30. Now it executed first. It executed for this. It calculate the total sum. After that, it take this value. Okay, it take this value and the total value. This one is the total value, and it print on the screen that one this output. Okay, hello Ravi, your bill is 60. In the second case, when I again call it, now this time this N1 become Rani, okay, and these become the values. Now again it executed and calculate the total. After that it pick the value from the N1. This time inside the N1 the value is Rani and the total is something different because it execute for this time. So n number of time you can call the function. Okay.
That's fine, yeah.
Okay, the next one is the variable length argument. Okay, the next is your variable length keyword arguments. Okay, variable length keyword arguments. So now how we can implement these things? So very simple. Now this time we take only the product values. Now this time I am taking the product name as well. Okay, product name as well. For example, sum of and for this kind of thing that you have to use this double asterisk sign. Okay, double asterisk sign. So here let's suppose mobile is equal to 5,000. Okay, and then again but headphone, okay, the worth of rupees 3,000. Okay, then charger, okay, charger of worth rupees 3,000 and so on, whatever value. Okay, in the second customer the bought the product that is, for example, jeans. Okay, and then the shirt, okay, for example 30 rupees, $30, whatever. Okay, for example, and one more thing. Okay, it is taking only two things. Okay, now understand it. Now this become, okay, let me show you and remove this logic first. Now if I print, can anyone guess what would be the output over here? Print type of A. Now can anyone guess what would be the output over here? What this A become, what this combination become? Can anyone guess over here?
Dictionary.
Sorry, I didn't get. Who says? Yeah, dictionary. Perfect, well done. It become the dictionary. Absolutely right. Okay, so now it become the dictionary. Great. Now when I execute it, I am save it now. Okay, now you can check. These two become the dictionary. Okay, so we know how to deal with the dictionary. We studied well the dictionary section as well. For I in A dot keys or A dot values. Okay, this is the method. It will return you the values for the same, and after that sum plus equals to I, the same logic, and after that what you are doing? Printing of total. So here I am using the variable name is total. Okay, here the total is equal to 0. So this is the concept. Now understand it. Now you can check it out. The total bill for 1 is this one and the 2 is this one. But I want the total product that the person bought. Okay, so for the same, I know there is one more method. Items. Okay, P and sorry, I am making a key and value. Okay, that made more sense. And here I am using V. Now this time we contain the price of every item, and after that print of product name. okay, product name, that is key, okay, and after that total bill, okay. So let me run this. So this time I am getting the bill name of the product as well. The name of the product, mobile headphone and charger. The total bill is this one, okay. You can make it more sense. The product name is jeans, and then the shirt, and then the total bill is this one. So this is another way. So this would become automatically in the form of the dictionary. You can use this thing inside your, the previous assignment. You can use even the variable length argument or variable length keyword argument, okay. So you can take this one. So here again I am taking n1, okay, n1, hello, okay, then n1 your total bill is this one, okay. After that print of this one, just to separate these two persons, and then again slash n. Then here I am passing the name, okay. The name is this time Ravi, and this time Rani, okay. So let execute it, check the what output you will get, okay. The product name mobile, product name headphone, product name charger, hello Ravi, your total bill this one. Product name jeans, product name shirt, hello Rani, your total bill is this one. So this is the way I give you the hint for the same. You can make it more dynamic. Now you know the types of argument in great detail, and I will suggest you kindly use all these arguments, okay, inside your the previous the assignment, to make in appropriate order. I think more than enough for today. Try for all these and implement all these into your assignments. If you have any question, any doubt regarding previous sessions or in this session, you can ask me. So anyone having doubt?
Yes, please.
Yeah.
Why do you have 2 stars before the A?
Sorry, I didn't get your question. Why I choose?
You know, why do you have, like, for a def sum, then you have n1 and then you have 2 stars before the A?
Okay, this one.
Yes, the first line.
Okay, this one, in the last case what we did, we used this in the previous case. So by default it become tuple. This is the feature inside Python, and this concept is technically called variable length argument, okay. When I use this 2 asterisk sign, now it become the dictionary. All operations that are associated with dictionary you can perform inside this logic, and this concept is called variable length keyword arguments. So these are 2 different concepts, okay, and these are called the arguments inside the Python. And what are argument we know very well, and what type of argument we know very well, and this is the one of the type of the variable length argument, and this is the another type, that is the variable length keyword argument. Here this automatically become the dictionary. If I treat like this, now A become this mobile colon 5000, again headphone colon 3000, charger colon 3000, something like this. Now it will treat it something like this, okay, something like this, that is the called dictionary. And these are 2 different features. Sometime you have to go with this, sometime you have to go with this. Again choice is your, the problem statement is totally depend upon the problem statement, what you want to do, okay. So
Nitinji, is there any sign for the list as well? Is it?
the sign of list, I like this.
Yeah.
No, there is no any function who will treat as a list, because now understand why it's treated as a as a tuple, because tuple is immutable object. Whatever you pass from this to this, that cannot be changed. Okay, by mistake if I change this value, okay, the previous value 10 to 10,000, then what will happen? The total, the output would be changed. So that's why that use as a tuple, because when you are supplying the data from one where to another where, and when we are reading the data from the files, okay, then 90% you will fetch the data in the form of the tuples. In the same case of RDBMS, when we do the MySQL kind of things, then we will fetch the data from, you know, from the files, or we can fetch the data from MySQL to Python program. Then at the same time data would be in the form of the tuple, because when we are traveling the data over the internet or over the one module to another module, 90% we go with the tuple, because this is the immutable concept.
But how would we know like which form we are getting the data?
Sorry, from
Tuple could be
from where?
dictionary.
From where?
How which way we are gonna get the data? Like, you know, how do we know?
I already told you that if you are reading the data from the files, 90%, not 90%, 100%, you will fetch the data would be automatically converted into the tuple. Okay, automatically converted into the tuple, because list is immutable. After that, if you want to change something, then you can convert, you know, you can change it into the tuple. You can change into the list or tuple according to your requirement. It's depend upon situation. Maximum times when you are reading the data, you know, from MySQL kind of things, then the data would be in the form of the tuple, because that is the original data. You cannot supposed to change that data. If you try to change that data, then you will get the error message. If you want to change it, then you have to do the typecasting. So here we fetch the data in the form of the list. Sorry, I tell you wrong thing. Here we fetch the data in the form of the list, because we have to play with this data. Later on, when we understand the file handling, then you will understand this concept better. Okay, so for this point of time, leave this concept, because you didn't do file handling till now, because the rest of student did file handling. Your batch is not completed file handling. I will take your session on Saturday for this file handling. Okay, so anyone else, anything, another question that you want to ask? Everyone done 5 question inside your, you know, inside converted into your function or not? At least 5. I got response as well today from Muhammad sir, especially from the Muhammad sir, because Muhammad sir understand the concept in great detail, this concept that is called function. Muhammad sir,
Yes.
I got the response from you as well. The star series program that you converted into the function, that's great. But okay, I'm giving you one.
I did it by myself.
Yeah, that's
Myself, but
great. You did absolutely right. Now understand it. I'm giving one more assignment into this program. Okay. Now inside star, okay, inside stars, that you give these, you know, the static range that is 5. But I want ask this parameter from the user. Okay, when you call this star function, that I want you have to send the value over here. Let's suppose this time it's generate only 5 stars, but I want from the user how many stars that you want to print on the screen. For example, 20 stars, then you have to pass the parameter 20. Okay, ask from the user first with the help of the input function. Ask the data from the input function and pass that value inside the star function, and this star function will supply the value to your range function, and after that it will print according to that value. Now got my point or not?
yeah, we'll try to think of a generalized solution.
Yes, now you are on the right track. Generalized solution, that's great. I am very happy to listen this word. Sorry sir, what?
No, that's what I'm saying. Now Mohammed is talking now, you know.
Yes. Mohammed sir is on the right path. I didn't get you know, the assignments from your side. Ajay sir,
They're on the way, sir. They're on the way.
they are on the way. That's great. But what about others? Again, I didn't get any assignment from others. What about others? No response. Sir, half done, on the way, will submit. Okay, don't worry about it. Tomorrow we will more deep down into this function topic, because there are still some topics which are remaining of the functions. Okay, so in the meanwhile, try to implement all the types of this function in great detail, and try to implement more programs into the function. And again, your assignment, I am waiting for your assignment, and I will give a reward. What reward I can give? Nothing. I will do the appreciation if you know, if I got the best solution from anyone. So that would be the winner of this challenge. So this would be the like this. Okay, sir, we are busy with university. Busy with university. Welcome. Okay, no problem, Dhruv. Don't worry about it. No problem. What about others? I think others are not busy.
No, sir, I am also busy.
Yeah.
Because of
Because of
room shifting. Room shifting, sir.
Acha, no problem.
Changing our flat.
Okay, no problem. Just try to solve it, and try to put up the best solution. Okay, the best solution. I am expecting at least 3 best solution. So I would be happy. Yeah, I would be happy if I get the output in according to my requirement. So this would be like a, you know, the similar use case of the shopping website. So I think we should close this session.
We'll try your best, sir.
Thank you. That's great. Okay, so should we
So, thank you very much for today, and then tomorrow I will send you nice pictures, because this evening my friends, they invited me for barbecue.
Okay.
So make sure you get the flight and, you know, fly to Dublin.